Let's talk about sci-fi and fantasy queer reads. Going into this, I want to be very clear that you are not messing with my tripod. Where was I? Okay, going into this, I wanted to make it perfectly clear. Going into this, I want to make a few things very clear. I don't like romance novels. I'm not a fan of romance novels. Actually, I kind of hate them. Romance novels always mistake, losing for falling in love. They treat love like it will cure everything. It's the end-all be-all. And when they say love, they often mean romantic relationships, failing to mention the other types of love. And just not a fan. So that's probably one of the many reasons I prefer fantasy novels. I am setting you free. Don't knock my tripod over. I don't hate romance as a concept. I don't like how a lot of modern media portrays it. Fluff romance is cute, innocent romance is really cute, and to be honest, a well-done romance is nice. But once again, I just prefer fantasy. There's more to LGBTQIA plus people than just their relationships, so I wanted to take a broader look at that in fantasy, because again, I like fantasy, and a little bit of sci-fi, because they're often, those two genres are just smushed together. Just you take them both and you smush them together, even though I'd like my fantasy over here, and sometimes I dabble in sci-fi, but not a lot. That's just how life is. So the books I want to talk about are about the LGBTQIA community in a fantasy setting, doing things that people do aside from romance, because that's what I like. I also didn't want to mention a book where the person on that spectrum is a minor character, or that aspect of them is just a side note, like, for instance, in Dread Nation, how you go through all of this rigmarole with the book and you find out probably like the last eighth of the novel that the main character is by, which is fine. I like that novel. I just want it to be present. Or how about I Love the Bells? They hinted a character, a minor character, being trans because the Belle used her power to hide this character's facial hair. By the way, did you know cis women often have facial hair? Because that's a thing, so it may not even necessarily mean that character is trans. I like both those books. Or there's even Golden Curse, which I don't like, where the whole point of the gay character is to have a crush on the main character, and that's his entire motivation for everything. What kind of life is that? I don't know. I don't like that novel. So I like those books, except for the Golden Curse. I just want to talk about books where the characters are loud and proud and queer. So here are 5 queer reads for Pride Month. I'm dancing.
Number 1.
So the first one I want to talk about is Tarnished Other Stars. This novel is the only sci-fi one on the list, but I liked it well enough to mention it. It has a lot of things I like, people working together to better the community, strong friendships, people doing their best to overthrow their evil government, the girly things in life. There are 3 main characters. There's Anna, who performs life-saving surgeries that are deemed illegal. She's gay. There's Nathaniel, who really wants his evil daddy's love. Also, he's Ace and Arrow. Eliza, who's a lesbian orphan adopted by the queen and trained to be a highly skilled assassin. She's neat. They team up, they form strong bonds, which I said I really like. And they try to create a better life for everyone, because they already destroyed Earth, and now they got a new Earth. Earth 2, if you will. It's also a standalone novel, which is really hard to find in fantasy. Also sci-fi, but again, just a little sci-fi here.
Number 2.
Then I wanted to talk about Rat Queens. Rat Queens. It's about an adventuring party of 4, later 5, complicated women doing their best, and why the original team contains both gay and bi characters. I want to talk about Braga, who is present throughout the novel, but she later becomes a rat queen, which is the name of the adventuring party. Braga is a transgender orc. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And what I specifically like about her character is that you don't see her transition. She just sort of is, which I think is really cool. I was checking Reddit, and they were talking about how it forgoes the cisgendered people's obsession with the transition process. Because whether you know it or not, a trans person is still transgender, even if you don't know they are. Now, like I said, these characters are complicated, and why I could sit there and examine every facet of their sexuality. There's a lot going on in these novels. They're a love letter to D&D, and they really are best experienced by reading them. Also, 2 of the cast members from Critical Role cosplayed as them for one Halloween episode, and that's pretty neat.
Number 3.
The 5th season. I have talked about N.K. Jemisin on my channel before, at least twice, and she is cooler than any other human being has the right to be. I am very intimidated by her. I've also made that joke before, but it still stands. She's just so cool. Nobody tell her I exist. So, what I like about the 5th season and the Broken Earth series in general is that there's transgender characters, there's polyamorous characters, there's gay and lesbian characters, there's just a whole slew. And they're thrown into this wonderful, wonderful world that is our world, but also adds on to our world, and just the world building is magical. There's not a lot left to say, just read it.
Number 4.
Again, with the book series I've mentioned before, Home for Wayward Children. It's one of my favorites. I have a soft spot for children who open doors and go to magical worlds. I have an Alice in Wonderland shelf. I just really like it. These books are a fun, quick read, and for the most part they're pretty standalone. You can pick up any one in any order and kind of just read it and get the gist. Need to get more benefit by reading the whole series, but you know, you do you. It's going to be a sci-fi show eventually. So this book is about a school for children who have returned from a magical world that they gravely miss with all their hearts. And here's a quote about it.
The rules of the school are simple. Heal, hope, and if you can, find your way back where you belong. No solicitation, no visitors, no quests.
I don't know what I'm doing with my arms. This book has a lot of LGBTQIA representation. There's a trans character, there's lesbians, there's Nancy, who's asexual, and one of my favorite characters. But that leads me to my next point, a rant.
And now a rant.
So, I have read about 3 books with an ace and arrow character, and they're strongly hinted that, oh, these characters just don't have, you know, the romance vibes. Or, you know, the sexual attraction vibes. Now, here's the thing. Nancy is the first character I've ever seen that comes out and says, I'm asexual. Which is cool. She, in fact, turns down a date with someone by saying, I'm asexual. But here's the thing. Asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction. And then there's aromantic, which is the lack of romantic attraction. They are not the same thing. You can be ace, you can be aro, you can be both, you can be neither. I'm asexual, in fact. But I feel quite frequently authors just smush the two together, again with the smushing of things, and they are different. I don't know if that was intentional or not, I just wanted to mention it. I do like Nancy. She's a cool goth chick with drapey clothes. My other favorite character is the chubby blue-haired mermaid girl. What?
Number 5.
The last book on this list is Out of Salem, which is about a non-binary character written by a non-binary author. There's lesbian selkies. There's lesbian werewolves. There's me not talking in full sentences. I'm ending that now. This book begins with Z, who is said non-binary character, and they're adapting to life as a zombie. The rest of their family was killed in a car crash. Things get more complicated when a psychiatrist is killed and a werewolf is to blame, leading to this huge mystery. There's lots of discrimination, there's lots of magic, there is a lot of hardship, and this book, I forgot I had it right there. It's here. See? Zombie. Zombie. That's a dumb joke, and I apologize. So, I also wanted to give some channel updates. I missed an upload this week, and that's because I've started working again. And it is a little hard to both make these videos and work a full 40-hour work week. So I hope to upload at least 2 videos a month. My goal is 4 videos, but we'll just have to see with how things go. I am also working on my first video essay, which is months in the making, but hopefully that will be wrapped up soon. We'll see. You know, my house is a mess. I feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends, and I am still a trash goblin.
You and your trash goblin lifestyle. I can help.
You're hardly helpful. In fact, you're kind of the opposite of that. You're mean, and you're kind of like an obstacle, and you hurt my feelings a lot.
At least get you a new bed.
Okay, I see your point.
But I'll need your entire collection of rat queens. And a vial of your blood.
Unless you want to do anything weird with my blood.
Okay, fine, I don't need your blood.
Thanks for watching this video. It is sponsored by all the chores I am putting off doing. Are there any more queer reads you recommend I read? Please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And as always, happy reading.